All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. We are on the back nine now here at Manchester Country Club in Manchester, Connecticut. I'm playing around to hickories with my buddy and co-founder of the Connecticut Hickory Golf Association, Jacob Orcutt, and we're having a lot of fun on this golden age golf course which dates back to 1917. Since then, these three significant golden age architects had a role in how Manchester was shaped over the years, and we'll get into how they did that over the course of this back nine. So here's what's in the bag, sponsored by Stewart and Jacoby. I'm using my primary set for this round, which include Louisville Golf replica Walter Hagen Splice neck, 5 authentic irons, and my trusty Tom Stewart RTJ putter. Here's my Callaway Super Soft. And here is the Hickory set that Jacob is using for this round. Nice batch there. Back nine's about 3,000 yards, just like the front. And starts out with number 10, par 4, short par 4, 293 yards. Got an uphill tee shot where ideally you want to end up on that plateau. I usually bail out on the right side here. It's flat up there, but you've got some trees to manage. Jacob found himself in a spot of trouble off the tee here, but used his niblick, left-handed, turned it around.
That was a good out. Thank you.
So here I am on the right side, just trying to punch this through the trees with the Tom Stewart Otto Hackbarth 2-iron. Ended up all right. This is a severely sloping green from back to front, so you want to be really careful about where you place your chips. Ideally, you want to be below the hole here. This is kind of a tough spot where I've ended up. There's one for Jacob that almost made it in. Kind of showed the slope there a little bit. That putt definitely was not a good one. So moving on to number 11, it's a par 4, 335 yards. Bit of a dogleg left after you get past this hill on the left side, which sort of obstructs your view of the green from the tee, even though this angle doesn't show that. Jacob with a decent tee shot there with his jigger. I usually aim for the left side to go over that hill. Ended up skying this one a little bit more than I wanted, and so I didn't get quite the distance I needed there, so I ended up in the rough but over the hill. And then this was a real nice shot once again with the Tom Stewart Otto Hackbarth 2-iron. You might remember that shot from number 7 on the front nine that turned out pretty well with that club, and that put me in position for a birdie, which just came short. Would have been nice to get that one, but I'll take a par and move on to number 12. It's par 334 yards. So the holes back here that we're playing up until hole 14 were all Deveraux Emmet designs that have been modified over the years. I believe Stan McFarlane, course historian that I played around with about a month after this round, mentioned that this hole hadn't changed too much over the years. That was frustrating. I was pretty close to the green, but a bit short-sided, and I ended up sending my chip all the way to the other side of this tiered green. But that's usually when something interesting happens.
Nice view. Go in. Easy 3, just how you planned it.
And once again, the putter comes through for me. Taking the long walk, which I'll take any day if it's to pick my ball up out of the cup. All right, number 13, par 4, 331 yards. I mentioned on the front nine that my favorite stretch of holes here on the course are the holes between 5 and 14. And just every one of these holes is a lot of fun. I look forward to them every round. They're just challenging, but they're still a lot of fun. Here, Jacob sends a nice drive on the right side. Here's kind of where you want to be to get yourself in position for this elevated green. I'm about 165 yards out here, which is a tough shot for me. Don't really have the club for that, especially with an elevated green. So I expected to be short, but I was hoping to stay away from that hill. Turned out okay, though, because I got this chip up on the green. Jacob sent his shot over the green. It gave me a chance to do some fancy camera work here. And then he used my ball as a backstop, which is fine.
That's pretty good.
Give me the backstop.
Set him up with this long putt that I believe was for par. And just came short. Found myself with a similar distance as Jacob, but didn't give that enough. And I didn't give that enough either. All right, number 14, headed back across the street now. Par 5, 525 yards. According to Stan McFarland, this hole's been changed quite a bit over the years. Used to be a long par 4. Either way you look at it, though, in my opinion, one of the least inspired holes on the course. There's a lot of room on the left and right for your tee shot. Ideally, obviously, you want to be straight, and there is kind of a nice little distance spot. If you hit it right on the fairway, you'll catch a slope. But yeah, not my favorite hole on the course. I just kind of get in my own head here, trying to hit it as hard as I can, and that usually doesn't work. That one went all right. Set me up just in front of the pond for a layup. I might think differently about this hole if I ever played it correctly and actually stayed in the fairway. But until then, my least favorite hole on the course. That shot went a little bit left on me, and I'm using my little chipper club that I'll show you in a future round, and I've got a better example of how I use it.
All right, calling it.
Yeah, I kind of gave up on this hole. I'd racked up enough strokes, so Jacob will kind of carry us off this hole here. There we go. All right, number 15 is another par 5, 514 yards, but I like this one a lot better. Dog legs left. Get that tree on the left to be careful of if you try to cut that corner too much. And I was about to find out just how close you can get to the tree without hitting it.
Remember, leaves are 90% water.
So here I'm using the Tadmore 20 degree Mills Aluminum Playclub replica. Use this on the front 9 and pretty much with the same result. Just a tougher club for me to hit. I was hitting it pretty well going into this round, but I've since taken that club and all the other replica club, my other replica club out of the bag. I'm only using Authentics now, which I'll explain why in a future video too. So using the mashie here to try to chip this up, and just didn't get a good hop off the fringe there. That was a pretty good lag putt. I'll take that any day. All right, number 16 is a par 4, 397 yards. I should have mentioned when we got to number 14 that these holes now back across the street are part of the original 6-hole design of the course that dates back to 1917. And then Tom Bendelow and Deveraux Emmet came in 1922 and redesigned those 6 holes and then added 3 more for a 9-hole course. So that's what you're seeing here. Of course, these holes have been changed quite a bit over the years as well. But this is where, as I understand it, Tillinghast did a lot of his work in 1935, basically changing some bunkers and adjusting some green complexes at the request of the superintendents. He was doing a lot of that work for golf courses in the mid-30s. And he wasn't really, necessarily doing a true redesign to any of these holes, but just kind of suggesting some things to kind of help playability and I believe also maintenance. So move on to number 17. It's a par 4, 372 yards. This green complex with its bunkering reminded me a little bit of Tillinghast when I first played here, and then I saw on the scorecard that he had some kind of roll, and I figured it was probably moving bunkers around and that kind of thing, because it reminded me a bit of a Swope Memorial in Kansas City. Not to the degree of the elevation changes and stuff, but just the way that the bunkers were kind of placed around the green reminded me of Swope a little bit. There's my favorite shot in Hickory golf. That one went a little further than I wanted because the area in front of the green was a bit burnt out. But not too bad. This is a pretty tricky putt though, and I didn't read that very well at all. Spent a little bit of time after we holed out here just to kind of see where this went, because both of these putts tricked me pretty bad. All right, so we're heading home now. 18, long par 3, 186 yards. It's a little intimidating on the tee here distance-wise, and then also knowing that you don't want to go too far behind the green because that water creeps up pretty close to a slope behind the green. I'm using my conservative long par 3 strategy where I just try to keep it straight and short of the green. That's where I ended up here. I'm using the mashie now to just kind of roll this down the hill and get it close. You see the tiered green here. It's a tougher pin placement, obviously, when it's up on that top tier. Jacob with a nice flop shot there. And then great way to finish here up and down.
Hey!
Par.
Thank you. Good way to end the day.
Meanwhile, I am just taking my time. Tapping in for a bogey there. So that'll wrap up our round here at Manchester Country Club in Manchester, Connecticut. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back next week with another video, and in the meantime, here are a couple more from my archives for you to check out. As always, please like and subscribe. Thanks. See you next time.